Theodore Roosevelt once said, "The only man who never makes a mistake is the man who never does anything." Think about that for a second. If you aren't failing, you aren't trying. And if you're here, it's because you are ready to stop playing it safe and start winning. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are breaking down exactly how to turn your biggest missteps into your greatest momentum. But before we dive into the strategy, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. We drop tactical guides like this every single week, and if you're serious about leveling up, you cannot afford to miss the next video. Are you subscribed? Awesome. Let's get into it. The only man who never makes mistakes is the man who never does anything. Theodore Roosevelt. The polished marble halls of history are not littered with the bones of the timid. Instead, they echo with the footsteps of those who stumbled, fell, rose, and stumbled again. Yet, in our modern culture, obsessed with flawless resumes, curated social media feeds, and the fear of public cancellation, one of the most ferocious truths of human progress has been dangerously forgotten. It is a truth captured with rugged eloquence by Theodore Roosevelt. The only man who makes no mistakes is the man who never tries. At first glance, this maxim appears to be a simple ode to trial and error. But a deeper examination reveals a radical, uncomfortable, and ultimately liberating philosophy. Roosevelt is not merely excusing failure, he is redefining it. He is arguing that the very act of non-participation, the sterile state of perpetual inaction, is the single most grievous error a human being can commit. To be flawless is to be static is to be irrelevant. This video will explore the anatomy of this idea, arguing that the avoidance of mistakes is not a path to success but a slow atrophy of the human spirit, and that true mastery, innovation, and character are forged only in the crucible of repeated, public, and instructive failure. One of the biggest obstacles to success is the fear of failure. Many people spend years waiting for the perfect moment. They delay launching their business because they do not feel ready. They avoid applying for jobs because they fear rejection. They stay silent because they fear saying the wrong thing. This fear often disguises itself as caution or perfectionism. People tell themselves, "I need more experience. I need more money. I need more knowledge. I need better timing." While preparation is important, endless preparation can become an excuse for inaction. The truth is that no one ever feels completely ready. The entrepreneur who launches a successful company does not have all the answers. The athlete who wins championships does not begin their journey as an expert. The public speaker who captivates audiences was once nervous and inexperienced. They simply started. And because they started, they made mistakes. Those mistakes became teachers. Mistakes provide information that success often cannot. When everything goes right, it is easy to assume you know exactly what you are doing. But when something goes wrong, you are forced to examine your actions, identify weaknesses, and improve. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child falls repeatedly. If falling were considered unacceptable, no child would ever learn to walk. The falls are not evidence of failure. They are evidence of learning. The same principle applies throughout life. A trader learns risk management after experiencing losses. A writer improves through rejected manuscripts. A salesperson becomes effective after hearing countless no's. A leader develops wisdom through difficult decisions and occasional errors. Growth requires experimentation, and experimentation inevitably involves mistakes. Without mistakes, there is no feedback. Without feedback, there is no improvement. Theodore Roosevelt, a man of action. Theodore Roosevelt did not merely speak about courage, he embodied it. Born in 1858, Roosevelt suffered from severe asthma as a child. He was physically weak and often struggled with his health. Instead of accepting these limitations, he committed himself to strengthening his body and mind. Through discipline and determination, he transformed himself into a vigorous outdoorsman, soldier, politician, and eventually the 26th President of the United States. Throughout his life, Roosevelt faced criticism, setbacks, and failures. He made controversial decisions. He encountered opposition. Yet he never allowed the possibility of mistakes to prevent him from acting. His famous "Man in the Arena" speech perfectly complements this quote. Roosevelt praised the person who enters the arena, strives valiantly, and sometimes falls short. According to Roosevelt, the credit belongs not to the critic who points out flaws but to the person who dares to try. That philosophy remains relevant today. The world is filled with spectators who criticize from the sidelines. It is much harder to step into the arena and risk failure. But that is where growth happens. One of the greatest dangers in modern society is perfectionism. Perfectionism convinces people that mistakes are unacceptable. As a result, many talented individuals never pursue their goals. The aspiring author never publishes a book because it is not perfect. The entrepreneur never launches a product because it is not ready. The musician never performs because they fear criticism. The student never asks questions because they fear appearing ignorant. Perfectionism creates paralysis. Progress, however, requires action. Consider some of the world's greatest inventions. The first automobiles were unreliable. The first airplanes were primitive. The first computers were limited and inefficient. If inventors had waited until everything was perfect, these innovations would never have existed. Success is often the result of continuous improvement rather than perfect execution. Done is frequently better than perfect. Learning through failure. History provides countless examples of individuals who transformed failure into success. Thomas Edison. When developing the light bulb, Edison reportedly tested thousands of unsuccessful designs. When asked about his failures, he famously responded that he had not failed but had found thousands of ways that would not work. Each mistake brought him closer to success. Michael Jordan. Widely considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Jordan was cut from his high school varsity basketball team. Many people would have quit. Instead, he used the setback as motivation. His failures became fuel for future achievement. Walt Disney. Before creating one of the world's most successful entertainment companies, Disney faced bankruptcy and numerous business failures. Many investors rejected his ideas. Yet he persisted. Today, his name is recognized around the globe. Their stories reinforce Roosevelt's message: mistakes are not the end of the journey. They are part of it. While mistakes can be painful, the consequences of never trying are often far worse. Imagine reaching old age and realizing you never pursued your dreams because you feared failure. You never started the business. You never wrote the book. You never learned the skill. You never took the opportunity. The regret of inaction often lasts longer than the pain of failure. Most people do not regret taking reasonable risks. They regret the chances they never took, the jobs they never applied for, the conversations they never had, the opportunities they let pass. Failure may hurt temporarily. Regret can last a lifetime. That is why Roosevelt's quote carries such importance. Avoiding mistakes by avoiding action may feel safe, but it often leads to a life of unrealized potential. Every mistake strengthens resilience when approached with the right mindset. Resilience is the ability to recover from setbacks and continue moving forward. It is one of the most valuable qualities a person can develop. Life is unpredictable. No matter how talented or prepared you are, challenges will arise. The people who thrive are not those who never fail. They are those who refuse to stay down after failure. Each setback teaches emotional strength. Each disappointment develops patience. Each obstacle builds character. Over time, mistakes become less frightening because you realize you can survive them. Confidence does not come from always succeeding. Confidence comes from knowing that you can handle setbacks when they occur. Taking intelligent risks. Roosevelt's quote does not encourage reckless behavior. It encourages courageous action. There is a difference. Making mistakes while pursuing meaningful goals is different from acting irresponsibly. Successful people take calculated risks. They gather information. They prepare as much as possible. Then they act. They understand that uncertainty can never be completely eliminated. Waiting for absolute certainty usually means waiting forever. Progress belongs to those who are willing to move forward despite incomplete information. Whether in business, investing, relationships, or personal growth, intelligent risk-taking is essential. The key is to learn from mistakes rather than repeat them. In today's digital age, fear of mistakes has become even more common. Social media often creates the illusion that successful people never struggle. People see the highlights of others' lives while hiding their own setbacks. This creates unrealistic expectations. The reality is that every success story contains failures that are rarely visible. Behind every achievement lies a collection of mistakes, lessons, and adjustments. Roosevelt's wisdom reminds us that mistakes are normal. If you are making mistakes while pursuing meaningful goals, you are probably moving in the right direction. The person who never fails is often the person who never challenges themselves. Growth occurs outside the comfort zone. And outside the comfort zone, mistakes are inevitable. Turning mistakes into opportunities. The way you respond to mistakes determines their value. Some people allow mistakes to discourage them. Others use mistakes as opportunities for improvement. When you make a mistake, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What could I do differently next time? How can this experience make me stronger? What knowledge have I gained that I did not have before? These questions transform failure into education. Every mistake contains a lesson. Those lessons become stepping stones toward future success. The most successful people are often not those who make fewer mistakes. They are those who learn faster from them. Theodore Roosevelt was a man of immense contradictions. A conservationist who loved to hunt, a progressive who worshipped strength, a Nobel Peace Prize winner who craved war. But through all his complexities ran a single, unwavering thread, a hatred of the half-life. He despised the spectator who critiques from the stands, the bureaucrat who says no to avoid liability, and the intellectual who theorizes about life instead of living it. The only man who makes no mistakes is the man that never tries, is not a license for sloppiness. It is a call to arms. It is a reminder that the human condition is not about achieving a static state of perfection, but about engaging in a dynamic process of struggle. The final scorecard of your life will not be judged by the number of times you fell, but by the number of times you got up and charged again. It will not be measured by the pristine, unmarked pages of the book you never wrote, but by the dog-eared, coffee-stained, scribbled-upon pages of the book you finished, which contains a few beautiful sentences and a few regrettable ones. Roosevelt's man in the arena has bloodied skin, sweat on his brow, and a ledger full of errors. But he is a giant. The cold, timid soul, flawless and inert, is not just a failure. He is a ghost, having never truly existed. In the end, the only unforgivable mistake is the decision to never make one at all. So try, fail, learn, and then, because you are still breathing, try again. That is the only path worth taking. Remember, mistakes aren't proof that you can't do it, they're proof that you tried. Every single legend you admire has a graveyard of failures behind them. So go out there, take action, and don't be afraid to make some noise. If today's video gave you that reality check you needed, hit that like button right now. Your homework for today: drop a comment below with one mistake you made recently that actually taught you a massive lesson. I read and reply to every single comment, so let's talk down there. To make sure you don't miss next week's breakdown, click my face right here to subscribe to the family. And if you want to keep this momentum going right now, watch the other videos on this YouTube channel where I break down the exact mindset shift you need. Thank you for watching, keep trying, and I'll see you in the next video.